So I'm here with Dmitry Lazarichev.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi, you're the
Hi.
co-founder of Wirex. Do you want to give a brief summary of what Wirex does?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are kind of a fintech startup, and we're currently offering 2 different products to our customer base in different regions. So it's a CeFi app where essentially you can get, a debit card or a Visa or MasterCard that you can spend on regular merchants. And the other product we launched recently is a non-custodial wallet, which can be accessed by a wider group of people.
Okay, sounds like you're building out an ecosystem there, huh?
Yeah, I'd say so, pretty much. So it's been already 6 years plus that we've been on the industry. We've gone through all these ups and downs a few times already. We keep kind of adding new interesting features and expanding in different geographies.
Okay.
Since that.
So you said 6 years. What was your first exposure to cryptocurrency?
It was like 2014 and 2014, beginning of 2015. The price of Bitcoin was, just maybe $300 or so.
Mm-hmm.
That was so difficult because I don't have like a proper sort of a technical background. So I remember these days when you had to install the special software on your laptop in order to set up a wallet.
I remember that.
Yeah, so immediately we realized, it's a no-go for like the mass adoption, and hence why we started working on the using interface and experience from the day one.
And even buying Bitcoin back then, that was a drama. I think that's post Mt. Gox, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The biggest exchange back then just had blown up in just the previous couple of years there. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And so was that exposure? Did you immediately get into crypto after that, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I can't remember when exactly that happened, but essentially we decided, we started thinking, okay, you've got this digital asset, but how exactly you can use it in everyday life? We're thinking about the mass adoption. It should be somehow linked to, all everyday sort of spending, etc. So we decided, instead of going to, every merchant and explaining them, you guys need to start accepting payments in Bitcoins, for example, we decided to do it in a different way by attaching it to, kind of a debit card, for example, and everyone knows how it works.
Okay.
And it's acceptable everywhere. On the back end, you've got your wallet, but you can also spend those digital assets in everyday
So kind of
life.
bridging the gap there between digital
and
assets and fiat. Awesome.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
And so they would spend their crypto, and then on the back end, somehow you guys would convert that over to fiat and spend it for them?
Of course, it's been a few iterations with the project. The first one was you basically need to pre-exchange, and then the load funds on the cards was very, very sort of user-friendly, I'd say, at that point, but now obviously it's completely different level. So you can attach any of the wallets we accept or any of the currencies we accept on the platform to your card, and then you can choose whether you would like to pay out of your sort of a BTC wallet or your USDC wallet or fiat wallet. So it's up to you, really.
Very cool.
Thanks. I can show you a card, by the way.
Yeah.
We just launched it in the US. It's a regular sort of a Visa card, that you can
Sleek, got the tap payment.
You can order and spend your fiat and digital assets everywhere in the world.
Yeah, very cool.
Thank you.
And do you personally what's your craziest story in crypto? You've been in here 6 years, so you're a veteran by crypto standards. Most of us only been in here 1 or 2.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've personally seen going on in crypto?
So many of them. I don't know which one would be, the most interesting one for the audience. But yeah, we've definitely seen lots of different things there. For example, I remember that, when we were talking to the banking partners at that time, 2015, 16, 15, so there was pretty much a no-go from them. So, you guys working with digital assets, crypto, no, we can't support you. Then we found one, and then, we started issuing the cards, and then this company started onboarding a number of other businesses from the industry to do something similar.
Okay.
And then one day, it was in the beginning of 2017, I think. Yeah, so they decided to shut down basically all the.
You got rug pulled, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was something. An experience.
It's one of the earliest rug pulls I've heard of.
Yeah, absolutely. But luckily, we started working with another sort of a card issuer before this happened.
Okay.
And so, in a few months, we were able to come back to our customers with a new card product
Awesome.
even better than it was before.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No worries.
And then I guess probably like a rose and a thorn. What's the best thing you've seen happen personally to you in crypto versus the worst thing?
Oh, I would say change in perception from all these companies as well. So again, if you compare like 6 years ago, it's not that long actually, but you know, when you started talking to people about blockchain crypto, they were, you know, really kind of cautious, very cautious. They don't want to work with this professionally. But now you see all these big companies, they started doing something. You know, people are kind of involved in different projects, and the space is growing so fast. That's, I think, we couldn't imagine 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, even
sure.
2019, I remember people on some of the forums were saying don't use certain banks to transfer over to Coinbase since you'll get your account shut down.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard that happening anytime recently. It probably still happens, but a lot rarer.
But it's a lot, you know, a lot better now. For sure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Let's kind of move on to Wirex as a platform. Can you give like you kind of gave a broader overview earlier. Can you give a more focused one, maybe talk about recent expansions you've made?
Yep, absolutely. So we started obviously with a card product first. So we started in Europe and the UK, and then we spent a few years and we were able to expand in Southeast Asia, APAC region, and then it took us another couple of years to finally launch it in the US in February this year. So it's a very heavy kind of product in terms of how much you need to build and the resources to you know. But we managed to do it, and that's basically the great achievement, one of the greatest achievements of our team.
I guess you need to tap into all those DeFi resources, which are kind of scarce. There's a lot of money chasing those, as well as the CeFi resources, and kind of bridge the gap there and make sure they're working together.
Exactly. So because on one hand you've got all this Visa and MasterCard infrastructure that are very much known. It's very you know, sort of intensive from a tech standpoint, and you know, very much regulated. And at the same time you have, you know, all these digital assets, and it's you know, it's completely different story. And we're trying to merge it in one app in order to improve user experience really, and to make it really easy for them to, you know, to go from one environment to another and do lots of different things.
I mean, I think that's really what's kind of not missing, but kind of lacking in the DeFi space right now is improved user experience. It's like I couldn't take a lot of this, most of the stuff I do in DeFi to my grandmother and have her do it. You know, she's gonna mess it up.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's probably very similar to a situation where we had with Bitcoin and Ethereum like 6 years ago. It was probably around the same. Now we have, you know, kind of the next iteration with DeFi, and again it's like in its user interface and customer kind of access. So in order to address that to the extent possible, from our perspective, we launched a Seedless and non-custodial wallet. So essentially it doesn't require the customers to store like a seed phrase to restore access to the wallet if needed. So essentially it's basically an MPC wallet for the mass adoption really, so the customers can restore access to their wallet using basically the email address and the face print.
Could you kind of expand on MPC? What does that mean? What's MPC stand for?
Yeah, MPC stands for a multi-party computation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so instead of one person having the seed phrase, it's completely different, right? You have multiple parties.
Split in 3 pieces, and essentially a customer has access to, and the customer's data is used for one of the pieces. So it's basically the face print and the customer's email. So if you
face print, so you got biometrics there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
It's a biometric base.
Yeah,
and that's why it's very easy and more familiar, you know, for the mass sort of a market user, because they know how it works with all other apps.
Okay, that's kind of night and day from what you described back in 2014, you know, downloading that clunky program. I'm not sure if even they had seed phrases back then, right? It was probably a private key in a text file that was encrypted with a password.
I think, was a file.
On your hard drive, so if someone gains access to your computer and knows your password, you're kaput there.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to seed phrases, which was a little easier. You had like 6 to 24 words that you keep track of. It was still, I mean, I personally saw a lot of people still lose their funds that way.
Exactly.
And you're taking it to the next step of UX, which is no more memorizing seed phrases, no more putting your life savings on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And hiding it in behind the picture of your grandma on your wall, like I did.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially, hoping your house doesn't burn down.
Yeah, which is very, very suboptimal, I'd say. So yeah, we definitely
to say the least, yeah.
Another solution here, and that's the one that we have already, and it's available. So,
very cool, awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we see quite a lot of things like, happening on DeFi, and such wallet can also be used not just as essentially access to the DeFi application, but also to the Web3 and Metaverse, because it also helps with the identity. So essentially, if you have a face, you are a real person and not a bot.
Yeah, that's true.
Really,
I didn't even think about that aspect because I mean, on-chain entity or identity is it's a big problem we're trying to solve right now. Making sure that the people interacting are actual real people and not one person running a bot farm of thousands of individuals. I mean, you saw it in airdrops. You have airdrop hunters now, so they're pretending to be a bunch of different people.
Right.
We've seen some projects make a stab at trying to solve it, but I don't know if anyone's gone as far as like biometric face identity. So it's a really cool.
Yeah, well, I think it can help a lot for a number of different projects, and from the customer perspective in the first instance, obviously, it's much better.
Very cool. So in this industry, are you seeing, what's the biggest obstacle right now for crypto payments, or do we need any breakthroughs to make this catch on more widely?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So we've been focusing on this pretty much from the day one, and we quickly realized that the volatile assets, it's very difficult to use them within the payment ecosystem, just because you don't know what the exchange rate will be in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem for the merchants and the customers who are paying. Right, but on the other hand, stablecoins, so that can be a very good, interesting solution here. For example, if you pay with USDC, it has a stable value. It has all the collateral behind it, so it's safe. And same way from the merchant perspective, they can accept the payments in USDC, and they know they can easily exchange it into fiat, or they can pay someone else, in USDC. That's a very interesting sort of opportunity here.
So I guess the volatility would kind of work both ways, right? I mean, if I was holding asset like Bitcoin or Ether, and I thought it was going to go up, I wouldn't want to spend my money. But then if I was holding it knowing I have, let's say, $1,000, and then 6 months from now it's $500, I mean, it kind of makes a bad, not bad, but there's a lot of problems there with the volatile assets. So that's cool that you guys kind of see the value in stablecoins.
Yeah, absolutely, because with volatile assets and when it comes to payments, everyone wants to know exactly how much they paid for any particular product, service, or as just a money remittance, which is another sort of popular use case for the international payments.
Yeah, remittance payments. That's a good point, because right now we have centralized projects working on remittance payments, and they've been working there for not hundreds of years, but dozens of years now.
Yeah, indeed.
That's a lot of value you guys could add on that front.
Yeah. So that's basically not just us, but some other companies are trying to solve this issue, through the different parts of the entire ecosystem with the blockchain, so kind of outside of it. But we definitely can see potentially a lot more opportunities here, and because on the blockchain you can send a transaction in a few minutes. It's there. It's fast. It's relatively cheap if you're using one of the
definitely. It's not
blockchains.
Ultra cheap, but I mean on the big ones, but it's still far cheaper than the centralized remittance payment platforms. I've seen people pay $50 to send 200. Which is just ridiculous from my point of view.
Absolutely.
And if they're using the blockchain, they'd be able to do that under $1, for a lot of blockchains. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Again, if the user experience is there, and everyone, like your mom or my or sister can use it, that's where we can see kind of the next probably generation of adoption. Yeah.
Okay. So kind of 5 years from now, what's your prediction for the portion of payments in general that are going to be actually have some crypto aspect in it? Whether or not it's people spending crypto, or maybe it's finalized on the blockchain. What do you see? I'm not going to hold you to this, but I just want to hear what you're saying, what you see the world 5 years from now being.
Yeah, interesting. When it comes to payments, we definitely will see a lot more adoption. I wouldn't say that it will change everything, but it will play its role there. So let's say optimistically up to a quarter of the payments, if those are on blockchain or the settlements, I think that's an amazing achievement for the entire industry.
I could see maybe some developing countries kind of skipping a generation. Like we saw in a lot of Africa with cell phones. They didn't have landlines. They went straight from talking to people to cell phones, you know. Maybe we'll see some of that over there with straight from, I mean, they all have cell phones now, and you're offering a product that allows them to actually spend money with their cell phone, with your mobile wallet. So
absolutely. Yeah. So we definitely can see the adoption a lot quicker, in such countries. And some of the countries are thinking about launching their own CBDC, which is a central bank issued stable coins. That's another interesting opportunity, so they can essentially be the first ones in the world with such projects, which is pretty innovative and exciting.
Very cool. Let's move on to kind of crypto in general. What's your view on stablecoins? What do you? I guess you said you like stablecoins, right?
Yeah,
You're more into the collateral-backed stablecoins like USDC. You mentioned.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, if it's backed by fiat, it's probably the safest one. But there are some other options like DAI, for example, which is pretty stable and pretty safe from customers for the customers to use. So those are very good examples.
Could you expand a little bit on how DAI works for the audience?
So it's basically over-collateralized stable coin.
Okay.
And essentially it has a liquidation sort of a mechanism in it. If the price of the assets on the back of this stable coins, if the price is going down, so at some point those assets can be sold in order to make sure that the value of a stable coin is exactly $1.
Oh, okay. So you said over-collateralized, so you have more, whatever assets they are, but more value behind every, let's say, dollar worth of DAI.
Exactly.
And then if the value's falling, they kind of sell that off and make good on their promises. Okay.
And that already happened 3 years ago, and the entire ecosystem and the project, they went through it without any issues, and
you're talking about the whole multi-collateral DAI transition, going from just Ether back to now they have, it's probably mostly USDC backing DAI now, right? Yeah. Very cool. Thanks.
No
and then I know you guys probably started with Bitcoin, right, as the prime collateral with your debit card. What do you see the future of Bitcoin? Is it more of a payment platform? Is it a store of value?
Yeah, it's probably more like a store of value, and many people say it's like a digital gold, for example.
Okay.
And I tend to agree with this. So because it's very sort of a difficult exercise to try to use it with a payment ecosystem, because again, of its volatility, you never know what's going to happen with the price. It can go up all of a sudden or drop down again. It always goes. It always goes in cycles. And for the payment use case, it's not the easiest one, definitely. But if you can use it as a collateral and issue, for example, a stable coin, so get a credit in stable coins or fiat, so and then you can use this money instead of selling your sort of the Bitcoin or any other digital assets like Ethereum. That gives you some other interesting opportunities on the market. And what we see from our customer perspective, for example, so our customers, they're not using the Ethereum and Bitcoins in order to pay with this through the card. but they use it as a collateral in order to get a loan in stablecoins, and and then pay with these funds.
Very cool. Thank you. And then I guess I'm wondering what the crypto mass adoption looks like in your mind. When do you think that we, as an industry, will say we made it? It's crypto's there.
Yeah.
Or has it already happened?
Very good question. It has happened, I think, to some extent. But again, if we compare, like even 3-4 years ago to the present day, I would say that happened. There is an NFT conference right now in New York, and you see how many people there.
Yeah.
And definitely happening. And every year we see new innovations on the market. It was DeFi, NFT. I'm pretty sure next year we'll see something else. And it's very exciting, very sort of ever-changing environment. So the proper adoption, I don't know, in terms of the kind of the curve of adoption, I think we are almost reaching the next sort of level there. So initially it was the pioneers, then early adopters, and then basically the late adopters are coming perhaps in the next few years or so.
And where do you see wallets playing their role in all of this transition?
Yeah, wallets are very important part of the ecosystem. Again, probably still not many of them used by the general public because of its complexity, and some of the users potentially scared by using the wallets, and they and go kind of to use the applications on the DeFi level, but with this ease of use and improved interface, we should be there maybe in the next 5 years or so, maybe earlier, hopefully, than that.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's a great note to end it on, Dmitry.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much for your time. Awesome speaking to you today.
Thanks a lot, Jordan.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Much
Thank you.
appreciated.